I mean, we might as well go ahead and jump into what happened today. That caught me by surprise when you text me. So let's just go ahead and start with our Milwaukee Bucks and talk about waiving Dame Lillard, and then of course signing Myles Turner. I said CJ Miles. Myles Turner to a 4-year, $107 million contract. So I think signing Myles is great, but the whole Dame, like 2 years and cut. Let's see what video we got here. Let's listen up here.
What can you tell us about this news surrounding the Bucks?
I mean, a stunner today in the NBA. They have reached a 4-year, $107 million agreement with Indiana Pacers center Myles Turner. He was a free agent. They are picking him up in free agency, and in order to do so, they are waiving and stretching the $113 million on Damian Lillard's contract. This opportunity came out of nowhere for the Bucks. Myles Turner is the longest tenured Pacer, 10 years there. He wanted to remain in Indy, from my understanding. The Pacers made several offers that were below market value, from what I understand. And so John Horst, as well as Turner's agent, Austin Brown, they worked over the last 24 hours to figure out, is there a way, a creative way in a very scarce marketplace in right now salary cap around the league? Is there a way to bring Myles Turner to Milwaukee? And for the third time in Giannis Antetokounmpo's Milwaukee tenure, back in 2020, John Horst goes out and gets Jrue Holiday. 2023, Damian Lillard. This one was more serious this summer of 2025 because Giannis Antetokounmpo essentially was never as close as he's been to potentially leaving Milwaukee, and they go out and get a franchise caliber starting center.
What more can you tell us about Damian Lillard's future?
I mean, I'm told that Damian Lillard welcomed the release today. He welcomed this change of scenery that he's going to get. From a business perspective, he gets all $113 million now owed to him. And then he also is going to be able to, for the first time in his career, pick his next destination. And in the meantime, as he rehabs that torn Achilles tendon, he's going to spend that time rehabbing in Portland around his family members. So this is going to be a lengthy rehab for Damian Lillard. But this is something he became open to today because it provides him the financial component, the freedom afterward to sign wherever he wants. And then, of course, now a change of scenery away from Milwaukee.
And what can you tell?
So that's crazy. It happened so fast, but it's good to hear that Dame was, in happy for the releasing. I guess it does let him plan his own career on out. But thinking about this, when they said that he's still guaranteed us $113 million, it's crazy to me that they think that you're going to just cut that away and not have it. So that blows my mind, and it just makes me think that I forgot to mention this earlier, but it reminds me of Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. Is that Vanilla Day? Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, I think you said it correctly.
Okay, so of course that big deal, $1 million every July 1st until 2035. Greatest contract ever. One thing I do want to ask, because I don't know how this goes when it goes to contract. So he's guaranteed that 113 from Milwaukee. If he signs somewhere else, does that kind of take that away? And like, okay, this is your new contract, or you still get your 113 if you sign for a 2-year, $40 million? You're getting both. How does that really work? Oh, that is it. Okay. Yeah, so I'd be more than happy to say, yeah, man, go ahead and cut me. I'll go elsewhere and make money. So yeah. That's awesome.
And that's what Sean was like. Lillard was completely okay with the decision, as he should. I mean, we have another video here about my reaction.
Mark, what more can you tell us about how Dame feels about all of this?
Well, Malik, I'm going to take you back home right now. Dame's doing the Brookfield dance. He's ecstatic. His agent,
Really?
Aaron Goodwin, told me this is an incredible opportunity for him. He gets to be a free agent 2 years early, choose where he wants to go. Money really doesn't matter right now because he's still getting paid by the Bucks. He's going to be in Portland, which is an important part for him to rehab, be around his kids, which is extremely important. Wherever he goes next, that team must know that he plans to rehab in Portland so he could be close to his family, but he'll be around. And how many teams are calling? Oh, they're calling. There's about double-digit number of teams calling, interested in him. So I think the big question, too, is like, well, when will Dame be back? There's some speculation that he could be back around the All-Star break. So if he signs with a team, it's probably going to be, it may well be a 2-year deal, which gives him a very economical deal for that team, but also allows him to do a 2-year kind of tryout, see how it is, see if it's a place he could be long-term. So this is, Dame's doing the Brook, I can't do it. He's doing the Brookfield dance. He's ecstatic. This is great news for him. A little bittersweet at first, but once the dust settled and he figured it out, boy, this is a good day for him.
Yeah, so you have any thoughts after listening to Marcus Spears?
Well, to be honest, when I first seen this, I mean, I was shocked that it happened, but at the same time, listening to both these videos, like, this is the greatest thing to happen for Dame in this situation. Never really thought of it that way. But, he is how loyal he was to Portland. We understand, almost too loyal as how long he stayed there, and then finally making the switch, asking for a trade, having the 1 year where he almost felt horrible as a person with a new transition to Milwaukee. And then, of course, this final year here, I'm happy for him on this. He does get to spend time with family. It's kind of funny that I mentioned that at the top of the show here, spending time with family and how much he probably misses some of those moments there. I mean, I'm sure family travel with him, but going back to your hometown roots where you spent many of your career, most of your career there, just to get back to who he could be. Because let's be honest, we know he's been injured. We know he's not had a good 2 years, really. This year was pretty much better. He needs a fresh start, basically. Now the injury, obviously I don't like any injury, but this gets him focused back in. Hey, this is what got me to where I'm at. But what's great for a team, like say Miami Heat, Dame is probably more likely to go to a contending team and say, hey, listen, I don't have to have that many dollar signs, too much bags, because I'm already getting from Milwaukee. So maybe he could be like, hey, let's go try to get us a ring. I'm going to take a veteran deal or whatever. For a 2 year or whatever until I get all my money from Milwaukee before y'all have to really pay me. And let's use that money you would give me to really get some more bench depth or a superstar with us and really make a push for a team that he wants that destination to be. So really it puts all the cards in Dame's hands on what he wants to do now. And that part is phenomenal for him, really.
Yeah, so there's two parts to this move, to this transaction. The first part, obviously, Damian Lillard getting waived. It's a unique situation where he got waived, and as Sharp said, he was still able to collect all of the money and in his contract. It's bittersweet. When Dame got traded there were expectations to win a championship, at least go to the conference finals. Unfortunately, they weren't able to do so. I got my tweet right there. Grateful for the likes there. Appreciate everybody. That's the thing that really just, it's the Achilles tear and missing the whole season. Because I feel like they most likely would have done this. Would they have done this if Lillard was healthy? We don't know. Probably. Just because of the second apron and how teams are unable to keep, players with, lucrative contracts. You can't have 2-3 guys with $200 million contracts. It's impossible right now. The way the CBA, the players, they collectively agreed on this. So any of the players that are upset with how these things are going and these players are getting moved, you signed off on this. So, you have a player rep, the representative, president, players union. You're supposed to read all of this language in the contracts and understand what's going on. Now, like I said, Lillard's example, thankfully, it's different. But somebody else's, another player's situation may not be the same. So maybe next time when it's time to, create another deal, create another agreement with the NBA, you might want to change some things in favor of the player if you're not a fan of really what's going on and some of the language that's changing these contracts and changing these teams so quickly, season by season. Gets to heal up. You know, he just came back. He had the blood clots, and then he tried to come back, make a playoff push, and he tears his Achilles. That's just the only unfortunate part, really. You won't see him play for some time. Mark Spears said he would come back potentially after the All-Star break, which, I mean, you know, he's one of the best athletes in the world, so that's likely, right? Best case scenario, obviously, you want to be very cautious, take your time. That injury, this injury is very serious. You don't want anything else to linger and happen and get injured because of that, because you're trying to overcompensate because of the injury and something else could get hurt. So, you know, again, he has the best doctors, great team. So whenever he comes back and whenever he's ready, that would be the best time. The next destination. Well, where do you think? A lot of people think Miami is at the top of the leaderboard. They've been in dire need of a dynamic point guard for a while now. Pat Riley, Lillard seem to have similar identity traits in terms of what it takes, in terms of the mindset. I think it could be a solid pairing. All things work well. Spoelstra, what's your thoughts on Lillard potentially going to the Heat?
Excuse me. Well, as a fan of the Heat, you know, I'd absolutely love it to finally have a solidified point guard, a superstar point guard that we can actually depend on. The only thing that I worry about, of course, like you said, he's injured until All-Star. So the good thing is he's pretty much going to be free this first season. Hopefully you can manage to get 2 seasons out of him on free. But so I would like that paired up with, you know, Tyler Hero. Of course, we just lost Duncan, who went elsewhere, which we'll get into that too, I'm sure. So it kind of sees where we're going to go with this. Of course, you got Ware, who's coming up as a big man, looking good. And Wiggins, what are we doing with him exactly? So bringing in a point guard, we can actually figure out, okay, at least we can build around Dame, who obviously has proven himself. Hero possibly is going to get an extension. They're talking about getting paid because he has been playing well as of lately. And so you could say two bigs or two big players there with Bam as well. You can kind of start seeing stuff put in place, because if you got Dame, Hero, Bam, and Ware as he still develops, that's a good little 4 there. If you can find a small forward to fit in and do some of the dirty work, the only thing I worry about is defense, because, you know, Dame obviously when he went to Milwaukee wasn't a great defender. That was the hurt there. And then now coming, if he does go to Miami, we're very small at guard on the backcourt and kind of small elsewhere as well. So we'll have to see how the coach manipulates that. As we've seen in the past, he runs at 2-3. Bam almost does like a 3-2 in certain times, picks up the big full court, brings down really the anchor in that zone defense that they do, whatever they do. So I do think Spoles can hide him or help develop him in that defensive mentality of what they're going to do. So I think it would be fine. Man, let's be honest. Anything that goes to Miami turns into gold, and then when it leaves, it falls apart again. So the best thing about this is, in the past 2 years, if Miami does get him, you personally and myself have talked about Pat Riley missing the boat as of lately, falling asleep, taking a nap at that 3 p.m., missing Dame in the offseason last year. I think you might even said, I'm going to quote, maybe it's time for Pat Riley to step down. Because how it had been going on. So if he can pull this off to not get Dame and then all of a sudden get Dame for free and keep his whole team together, other than Duncan Robinson, who left, that would be like, oh, wow, Pat Riley, you pulled it off. Like you saved what you had messed up on. So that's awesome. And it's cheap now. So that'd be great. But do I think Miami is a lock? Absolutely not. Like, this is the time that Dame can finally say, I'm going to back up and really assess what I have of this opportunity and really think where I could go. Let's be honest. He gets to pick now where he wants to go and play ball. So, I mean, let's be honest. He could go to the Lakers. to go play with Braun and Luka, which Luka is obviously mostly point guard, so I don't really think that. I mean, he could go to even the Clippers, help out there at point guard. James Harden moved to that shooting guard, which, he does both as well. So, I mean, I'm trying to think someone who needs a point guard off the top of my head real quick here. I mean, he could even go to OKC and help out with there. I mean, I've mentioned a lot. Steph Curry can really continue his career moving to the shooting guard at some point as well, not have to have the ball in his hand because he can shoot so well. Dame come and having both those guys. I mean, you got to play defense. You got to pick up half court with those two as your backcourt. If you imagine Dame, Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, and whoever they have as the big, I mean, that's a tough lineup. And for the fact that you're actually going to have them without giving up anything would be phenomenal. So, we'll see. I mean, I think Miami has to go all in on this for the fact that everyone was so down on Miami because they missed out on him prior, that if they don't get him now, it's going to make it look even worse. But so many teams have made so many moves right now, it's hard to really say what would be the best option until it really plays out. So, excuse me, I don't know if there's a rush for him right now to say, hey, I want to get this contract done. I want to make sure I'm here. This is what I want you all to know, that I'm committed to you all, but I'm going to rehab. Or if he's going to say, hey, let me rehab for a while, see how this kind of pans out. And, month 2 into the season, say, I think this might be where we go now because my recovery's coming good. You see how I'm healing. You can bet on me. And you guys are top 3, top 4 in the conference, whichever one he chooses, and say, let's run it here. Like, does he have to sign soon?
Yeah, he can take his time. He can definitely take his time. See what teams make moves, but also you also want to get a deal quick, so teams can make moves because they feel like once they're able to get you signed, then they could work with the rest of the money that they have to add and grow and develop. Exactly. So if you go Lillard, Hero, Wiggins, Bam, Ware. What do you think about that? What do you think about that starting 5? Lillard, Hero, Wiggins, Bam, Khalil Ware.
To be honest, I mean, I don't think it's like ring material. I mean, I love Tyler Hero. Of course, he played at UK. Big fan of him, but it's hard to say. It's hard to believe that he, as the number 2, number 3 option, can win a ring. And as for his size, even his strength, obviously he can score at will. He's a bucket, as he said at Kentucky. But defensively, lock up or a lockdown defender. Obviously he's weak on that part, and I'm not trying to call him out or anything on that. But the reason why Duncan Robinson played so long there was he was a 3-and-D, and it kind of offset Tyler Hero. So I'm like, you can be a scorer, and we still have defense behind you. Wiggins, of course, is that defender too, but who's going to really step up and be that solidified defensive player for them with that starting lineup? Where can rim protect, and he's still young, still developing. Bam is obviously the anchor, like I said earlier, and really the best defender on that team. But you can't take him out of the paint to guard everyone. He's got to stay at home to be able to help out there on pick and rolls. He can hedge or whatever. But I like that team as far as that 5, but what we just seen in the playoffs, you need more than just 5. So I got to see how the rest of the bench goes, who's going to be their second string leader and go on. So, but if you ask me, at least that starting 5, I think it's play in at least. Of course, no one's done, so we got to see how else goes. But, Pistons, obviously an upcoming team with some of the moves they did and the way they played last year. Orlando's getting better with some of the trades they have. One thing I worry about now is what's the Pacers really going to look like, because, we know that they just lost Turner, who is a huge piece for them. So Atlanta's made moves. I mean, is that really getting Dame a big move to put you over the hump where everyone else jumped? I don't think so. But since he's going to be cheap, you can still make those moves elsewhere. And, there's other people on the block that we'll get in to talk to as well who may want to come to Miami again. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, that's a nice lineup. That's a nice lineup for me, especially with Spoelstra coaching that lineup.
Of course.
I think there's some really good, there's some positives there. Game come back and play to the level he was playing pre-injury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you can't sleep on that squad. I mean, that squad is really like reminiscent of like the old school Miami team, Tim Hardaway, Jamal Mashburn,
Yes.
Alonzo Mourning. It's like just a bunch of dogs out there. And that would
The biggest
be,
thing.
That would be an exciting lineup to see. But I really don't really see any other teams that make the most sense, because at this stage of Lillard's career, it's about contending for championships, trying to win a championship, being in the mix, just being in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
And just looking at the landscape of the NBA in terms of what teams need a point guard or a point guard away from being really good. I mean, I just think it's a no-brainer with the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
With the Heat there. So, and again, like I said, there were two parts to this transaction. And
Before you get into the second part, do you think there's any sleeper team that may come up for Dame on this?
I mean, like the Kings need a point guard, but I just don't see Lillard going there. I mean, because they're in a completely different direction as a franchise. That would be going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a
Rebuild. No.
Yeah, that's a worse situation than Portland. So,
do you think the Nuggets would be a contender? Jamal Murray maybe go to the shooting guard, Dame come in and release some of that for Jamal Murray.
yeah, I mean, I don't like. I still feel like Dame would take it would still be a really pretty lucrative contract.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it'll just be mid-level.
Okay.
Some of these teams that we're talking about, if they're going to sign someone of his caliber, he would have to really willingly like say, okay, listen, you know, I'll take less money this year, and then we'll see what happens at the end next offseason. But I think he goes somewhere where the money is right and the fit is also correct. So where some of these really good teams that are right there on the cusp of the championship, they still have a really good point guard. So I don't see how it works.
All right, here is my sleeper, and you're going to crack up when I say it. It's going to be the Washington Wizards.
So okay.
Just for the fact, because that's where C.J. McCollum just went to, right?
True. But they do got a young point guard that they're trying to develop in Bob Carrington.
True.
So that kind of conflicts with their direction.
That's true.
Yeah. That's the only reason why I would be hesitant in that. But so this is the Bucks' potential starting lineup going into next year. Things can change. Bobby Portis off the bench. The Myles Turner deal. Myles Turner he was starting center on the Pacers. They won the East. He has moments where he plays really well, and he looks like a all-star player. And then there's other moments where you're just confused. But he should definitely be a much better rebounder. From the Bucks situation, his player build is similar to Brook Lopez, right? A two-way floor spacing five. Like that's the type of like traits that he presents. So that's perfect next to Giannis, because Giannis is a great slasher. But with Brook Lopez, when they won that championship, Brook Lopez was crashing the glass, getting offensive rebounds, blocking shots, changing the game.
He was the defensive player of the year that year, wasn't he?
Exactly. Making things easier for Giannis, defensively, offensively. You know, can Myles Turner bring that consistency that Brook Lopez brought for those first few years when he signed with the Milwaukee? When he got acquired with the Milwaukee Bucks. Here now, and for the 2025-26 season, I don't know, because even in the finals, there were moments where he should have played much better. He should have imposed his dominance as a center. I just feel like some of these centers, they get too content with just standing up 3-point line. Like you're 6'11". It's like you're supposed to be paint first, then outside.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you're supposed to play as a center. I don't care what era we're in, you're still tall. So that's not going to change. And you look at the people that were dominant and have the scoring list at the top. Most of them played in the mid-range, inside. They weren't shooting a lot of threes. And they have championships, multiple championships. So if you're going to sit here and tell me that, oh, the game is changing, like, yeah, the game is changing. Okay, sure. But you're still supposed to stick with what most of these other teams created dynasties off of. You got to attack the paint first. And if you're a center, that should be your number one priority, offensive first, automatically. You can't just be too complacent standing at the 3-point line. Sure, the spacing is good. It's perfect. It creates driving lanes for your other teammates. If you're a really good passer at the 5 spot, you can really create cuts, backdoor cuts, like Jokic, Cat sometimes. You get creative, Sabonis. But ultimately, you got to get to the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make them put the other center out there because the starting center's in foul trouble. Like that's what you're supposed to do as a 5. So are we going to get that from Myles Turner with the Bucks? New scenario, new situation, even higher expectations now. Who's the longest tenured Pacer? Pacers and the Bucks they've had rivalry for the longest time. Over the last few years, the Pacers have had the Bucks number. Now he goes to plays for the Bucks. So that's just another layer to this matchup between Milwaukee and Indiana. Indiana looks like a completely different team. This cannot be the starting lineup for them going into next season. Impossible. Doc Rivers coaching, impossible. So I don't know what John Horst is going to do next, but something else has to be done because this lineup doesn't defensively. Kevin Porter Jr. He could score, not the most efficient scorer, but he could score. Gary Trent Jr. shows flashes of he's a starter. Sometimes he comes off the bench. He's a really good shooter. He's one of the best shooters in the league. So with his floor spacing, you could keep him out there. But you need a floor general at the 1. You need someone that can make baskets easier for Giannis. I don't know if that's Kevin Porter Jr.'s play style. I know this was just a quick graphic based on the move that was made earlier today, but Kuzma's not a defender. And there was games where he's not always there on either side of the court. So it's just tough to really factor him in terms of like a game changer. He's a good player. When he's on, he can score. But in terms of impacting winning, he hasn't done that since he was a Laker, which we're going on 5 years now, 6 years. It's been a long time. So, but for Giannis, man, sheesh. Like I said, I don't feel like the Bucks are done. There's no way the Bucks can be done. There's no way.
If the Bucks are done, if they're done, Giannis is out. And we've been seeing, those coded, whatever you want to call them, encrypted tweets or whatever you got going on. There's one that's got a peace sign going on. The other's like, what's going on here? So I don't think that the cutting of Dame couldn't have been talked to Giannis first, just because of who he is in that team now. But the way he acted, like he almost was surprised. So who knows? And Luka was traded, and nobody knew what was going on with that one. So who knows what these front office do? But yeah, when I look at this lineup, I mean, I am pleased to see Myles Turner and Giannis on the same team with that. That's a very good front court, but I'm just, like you said, not really impressed with what they got going on at the backcourt with Trent Jr. and Porter Jr. I mean, they're good players, but I don't think they're ring-winning players. And again, I agree with you. If they're done, Giannis is asking for a trade already. So we'll see what they got going on here. they have to make some moves. I mean, Brook Lopez, like you mentioned, Myles Turner is more versatile, I guess, or at least agile than what Brook Lopez is as a recent times. He's still on the roster, I'm pretty sure. I mean, do they keep him, or is that a piece that someone else might be interested in? Because on the right team.
You said Brook Lopez? Brook Lopez is a Clipper.
Okay, he is a Clipper now, right? When did that happen?
Yesterday.
Okay, see, everything's happened so fast. Like, I can't keep up with everything. So Lopez has been gone, so that makes sense then. Because I actually, before I sounded dumb, I tried to look up on NBA.com, look up the rosters. I think, wait, they really do have Lopez still. So, like, what's going on there? So it's not even updated. So
yeah, everything is not official until July 6th.
That's right. Nothing has been signed in pen. That's right. So we still got a few days on that. So yeah, they have to make a move, in my opinion, for a star-looking guard, someone who can get a bucket and help create a bucket for someone else. And I just don't know where that's coming from. Dame would be great with this team. Wait, what?
Yeah, Myles Turner averaged 15 and 6, 48, 30, pretty much 40, 78 or 77 shooting splits. So, 48, 40, 70, 77 shooting splits at the 5 spot is really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good, really efficient. The rebounding is concerning for me. You should be averaging a double-double. You're 28 in your prime. You should be averaging easily 15 and 12.
Especially
and the thing is, like, if he averages more rebounds, some of those rebounds would be offensive rebounds, easier buckets. He would go right back up. So that 15 could be 18. He could get fouled and ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so we could get into now the contract, what they had to do to give him the contract. I need 23 and 13. Like, you're playing next to Giannis, you're getting easier shots. You're getting some of the most easiest shots you've ever gotten in your career. I need 23 and 13.
Because with him, he can't.
Is that crazy?
Not at all, in my opinion. I mean, I'd even be happy with 20 and 15. Obviously, but I'm just sitting here thinking he can knock down a three, but he's also so quick and fast. He can jump out of a gym still, compared to me, anyways. That Giannis with the ball going to the basket. That guy who helps off, as soon as you see the back of him, you're cutting straight to the goal, and it's a lob for you, or it's just a dunker spot that you get to or whatnot. Like, you should be very active and not be standing outside at the 3-point line constantly, with one spot. Like, okay, you're playing 5 out. We'll say that. Yeah, okay, I'm here, but, the ball's over there. I'm flashing, constantly going to be moving because I'm able to do that. Just get those mismatches, set picks, get the switch, whatever. Because Giannis with the ball and you set the pick, you're getting a big-to-big switch there that, may sound crazy, but Giannis going against the guy who's slower than him, he's just going to blow by him. And your guy that you're coming up on is probably thinking we're going to be double teaming that pick and roll. And then you're just going to be right there free, ready to go. I mean, to me, I'm thinking if I'm Myles, I'm trying to get everyone else a basket, get them open. But at the same time, by doing so, I'm going to get so many more easy baskets myself. Because once you set the pick and someone's rolling, I mean, you're already looking for that double team, the off the rim dunk putback that you're going to be getting constantly. So, yeah, to me, if he's not averaging a double-double, it's lack of effort. And, I don't want to say that about this guy because as much as he is mobile on this, like, he can make this work so well for those two at the front court. I think it'd be great. Like you said, what'd you say, 23 and 12, was it?
So 23 and 13.
13. Yeah, I mean.
If it's 23 and 13, and like I said, he doesn't really have to. He just has to rebound the ball more. Like I said, he's going to get fouled. When they're crashing the glass, getting offensive rebounds, and they foul you, you shoot a really good percentage for a center from the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to knock down your free throw. You only got to knock down one free throw, as opposed to shooting a 23-footer.
Yeah, and I'll even back it off.
Times.
I'll say at least 10 rebounds. I'm happy with 10 rebounds for the fact that Giannis is still getting his triple-double. So there's a bunch of rebounds going to Giannis. But at the same time, I want more. But, I won't say I'm happy. I can be satisfied with 10 rebounds. But, hey, you should be double-double every game. That's your goal. Every game is double-double, 20-point double-double.
Automatically. Now, 10 is not enough, but you're letting these guys off the hook now. Bro.
Well, I'm just trying to say, all right, hey, you got me 10 boards, you got me 23 points. We want
It's
more.
not even hating. I'm saying it's not. I'm saying this is what you could do to get make even more money.
Right.
Like,
I mean, let's be
if
honest.
you're averaging 23 and 13, you're making more than you'll end up making more than the contract that he got. The contract that he got was great. It was great for him. Like I said, but now the expectations is more now. Expectations even higher than it was with the Pacers.
And
and now you're playing with Giannis.
And that's the thing that gets kind of crazy when it comes to NBA contracts versus the working world. Okay, if I got a big raise like this, expectations are held more accountable for me to meet those goals, and I have to do them to either stay at that level or I get demoted. When it comes to these, like, okay, a lot of times, like, okay, now you're making $25 million for 1 year. Hey, I got the bag now. I don't really have to worry about working so hard to get that bag because I got it. And I say that because there's a lot of players that play basketball, but then there's only a few that are ball players that are trying to win a championship. And I'm not saying Turner's in that category, but you hear Kuzma, I will say, I think he's in that category, but this would be a great time to say, hey, this is why I got paid. Now I'm going to push myself even more to try to get more in the next 5 years. Because how old is he? 28, 27? 28. So, I mean, in 5 more years, or 4 more years, he still should be in a later prime, but still capable of repeating that contract.
I put him at 33.
He better be prime.
Entering this season, still in his prime. The 5 spots, stay in shape, easily get another contract, another lucrative contract. Could be the last one, who knows? Again, but I'm just saying, you're playing with one of the top 3 player in the world, so your numbers should be better. You're gonna get the ball more. There's no excuses, man. No excuses at all.
And you cut one of the best players in the NBA to get you. You better prove yourself that we did the right thing. So I mean, I get that for sure.
Yeah, the Bucks, they still need a point guard. Yeah, they need a point guard. Ironically enough, they had to get rid of a point. They had to in order to get their center, they had to get rid of a point guard. But the circumstances, Dame wasn't going to play, so they feel like I get what the Bucks are doing. I just want to see what else they do. I just want to see what else they do. Like what else are they going to do?
If they could get a prime Chris Paul in this team right here, it would be the LA Clippers all over again.
Yeah,
but it's not going to happen.
Some of the point guards already got signed, like Ty Jerome, Tyus Jones. Some of these guys already signed, so I'm interested to see what they do.
We'll see for sure because they cannot be done. Again, we said it numerous times now. If they're done, he's gone, and so they can't be done. And, I want to say Sham, I seen on his Twitter maybe a couple of days that they're supposed to, quote, there's talks of a trade that could make the Kevin Durant look like it's a lot softer than what we're expecting. So it must be like a big trade that may be coming up for a name. So who knows? It could be just clickbait of what he's trying to stir up. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows? We'll see what goes on because I do think there's going to be some kind of blockbuster trade go on here. Okay. I just don't know who. Because, I mean, we're in an era now where just because you're the best on the team doesn't mean that you're untouchable. I mean, Luka got traded, AD got traded. I mean, we've seen Jimmy Butler get traded, who obviously is the best on that team. So, I mean, there's no untouchables anymore. It's almost like you want to go as young as you can to develop these players and just keep them cheap and hope that they actually become an OKC. All right. Facts. I love it when you say facts. And exactly. Making me feel like I know what I'm talking about. But let's go ahead and jump on over to Western Conference. Of course, offseason for this one team keeps being active.